Crazy talk. All right. Alliance, y'all grab a seat. Crazy talk. The Alliance is blowing up. And you ever done this? You ever lit a firecracker and sat and throw it as a little kid? You ever done? Don't do this. Don't try this at home and then pick it up and go, that's a dud. Don't do that. That'll put a mark on you. Ajax won't take off. Them things didn't go off when they supposed to, is what I'm saying. I had to wrote them off. Well, they didn't work. Okay, so, and then they went off. Bam. Okay, so the Alliance is going crazy. You guys are killing it. I'm loving what's happening. I love watching the success. I love encouraging you, and I'm excited about the trips we're going to take. Okay, so I want to get this out of the way first. I did one of the coolest trips I've ever done. I mean, I'm like, I always say, like, I'm old. I'm like 51, and I know I got older than me as far as people have been on Earth longer than me than in our business. And matter of fact, we got a couple that's in their 80s that won a trip to Banff, Canada. I love that. Okay, but what I'm saying is I've been trying to do stuff for a long time, and the Carolina Carolina Panthers, the football team, were doing real well, and so they got to go to the Super Bowl, which is, everybody's does not get invited. It is a invitation only, and it's very strenuous to get there. Like, some people have never been invited. Well, this team got invited, and my wife likes to watch them, and so I was thinking I should take her. And so I invited her, and she said yes. And I love watching y'all's success, and I love hanging out with y'all. Y'all know that, right? Like, I just, like, all the Adam Cats over there last night, I was like, yeah, let's one more thing let's talk about, one more thing. And then I'm calling my buddies, and I'm talking, and it's just crazy. I just love it. But sometimes I do like to be with just Jane Albright. And she said, we go to the Super Bowl, is it going to be me and you? And I said, 100%. And it's very difficult, because I was getting texts like, we'll pick you up at the airport. One lady was like, John Pagana. I know how to say his name. Yeah, Pagano. Yeah, John Pagano. He's the executive chef at this restaurant, and you and your wife go. And I was like, okay, I know. And then I said no. I just said no. Does that make sense? But I went and hung out with her, and so that's why I got this ridiculous jacket. I just liked it. You know what I'm talking about? I was like, I'll take one of those, And I just had a blast hanging out with her. This is not a gift, you understand. This is a whole display. It was so much fun to be able to call up. People was like, when did you get tickets? And I was like, well, when we decided to go, which was just, a few days before. And you just, you go, people say, I like people say, how do you get the tickets? And I go like, I go on the internet. Oh, and then they'll go, were they expensive? I'm like, yes. Like, one guy said, those seats are like $5,000. I was like, cheap seats was $5,000. I mean, it is funny, the solvency of currency, of cash. You know what I mean? This business, for you guys that are seeing a tiny bit of success, this is a compounding business. And you can enjoy the successes, and you can get to do the stuff that I'm doing faster, or you can take, as long as I've took, you can take longer. But I want you to get to go. And the crazy things happen. We even have another one of my wife said, one of her new favorite agents. This guy said, how'd you like to go on a private concert with that guy, Adam? His last name is like Dane Levine, Adam Levine, right? So apparently this famous dude, to people that watch, that's whatever, something on TV, apparently. And he's got this band it's a maroon colored band. It's a maroon scent 5 or level color 5, maroon 5. Yeah, and so free concert, and this guy's good. He's got a lot of tattoos, and but he can sing and dance, and he's got other people around him that are really good too. He doesn't know many country songs. So we get to a free concert, and it turns out that one of our top guys is doing the DJ up on there for NetJets, and David. And so he comes around and says, "Hey, how you doing, man?" I'm like, "What?" "Oh," and I was like, "Jane, I didn't know anybody's going to be here besides us." But he is the one that got us in this exclusive, private little concert with Lavini guy up there. So she was like, "I like this guy." So, isn't it crazy what we get to do with the Alliance? So, right now, one of the things that I'm inviting you to do with us is go on a Mediterranean cruise. It's unbelievable cruise. I've been on it. I've been to a lot of the locations I never thought I'd get to see in my life, and now I've got to see them, and now I want to invite you. And it's not complicated. And I was just talking to Chris. Is that you in the back, Chris? Am I looking in the right spot? This is not complicated. Now, I will tell you, there is a tool that you're going to have to use in this business. It's a lot of yours will look similar to this. It's a telephone. And you'll be required. Now, you understand this is not like a mandate, like you must do it or we will hit you on the head. But to win the trip, you will have to make phone calls. Not that many, but you got to make some. You say, how many? Enough. So like in the beginning, I sucked at this business. So I had to make more calls for minimum results. We have tested and went around the country. As a matter of fact, Justin Balick, who has become very successful with us, he was talking to one of his agents, and he couldn't figure out. He said, "Andy, I got him up front, and I just started asking him. And it turned out he was really, really bad, and he's not that good yet, but he makes 500 to 600, sometimes 750 phone calls." Now, in my mind, I'm thinking 750 push-ups. And then I'm thinking, that's not the same thing. The energy required to press numbers. You with me? It's just like, down. Like, and then versus, you know what I'm saying? And now with nowadays technology, you dial a number that counts as one dial. They don't pick up. After 3 rings, you hang up. You go 1001, 1002, 1003, and you hit redial, and that counts for an entire dial. So we're talking 500, 600, 700 phone calls. What Balick said, he said, what I figured out, he said, it messed people up. This trigger's out working them. Untalented, unskilled, but he had desire, and he wanted to make it. Now, I'm me, so I said we need to help him with his recruiting. You with me? Because we still we recruit. I was talking to another guy last night, and I said, that couple that's struggling, are they working this like a job at Bojangles yet? He says, what do you mean? I said, like she works 40 and he works 40. He said, oh, no. They're not putting in those kind of hours. It's like, what do they, I didn't say this, but I went like, what did they, do y'all know what do they means? It's you know, it's kind of like sensual. Y'all know sensual, right? You know sensual. You know what sensual, right? Since you were up, give me a beer. Does that make sense? Sensual. What do you, like, what do they do? Does that make sense? What I want to say is, what does this couple do for 168 hours each? Now, here's what my coaches and counselors and advisors in the books I read say. Something's going on in our life emotionally between the ers between these things, and they're not willing to work. Whatever it is. Maybe somebody's telling them that they don't have to work in America. Maybe their mama's telling them they don't have to work. Maybe their wife telling them they can't work. Maybe their kids are on drugs. Maybe they drink too much. Because, you know, they get annoyed with you nowadays when you're drinking and driving. So they can't go out at night. You with me? Maybe they're too busy arguing each other and they don't want one of them leave. The other one might get up on the argument. I don't understand that one either, but you get my point. They have something going on that they don't work. Okay, I got here's this. This is one of the things that let's see if I can. Hope I can find this real quick. Oh, I love this text. Got this text. One of my favorite people, and it says, listen to this. This just came this morning. Thank you, Chris. Not this Chris, different Chris. I just wanted, and this is not from Chris, but this is from one of Chris's agents. This is from one of the ladies who used to not work because she was messed up, right? And I talked to her. I had about 2 15-minute conversations. I can have that same 15-minute conversation with you, okay? Something happened in her family. 2 things happened in her family. 3 things happened in her family. You say, how bad were they? Well, husband and son. You with me? Does that make sense? Same time? No, spread out. Different years, different times it happened. And like people go, well, at least she's got her own life, or at least she's got her daughter, or at least she's still got her dog. I went, oh man, God, it gets to be really tough. She's like, it is. I was like, how do you survive? She's like, one day at a time. I said, how are you going to thrive? She said, well, that's the part where I'm having trouble with. And I was like, you should learn how to stop worrying and start living. She said, wouldn't that be great? I said, I know a guy wrote a book on it. So I got her that book, and she said, I'm going to read that. I said, you read that. She said, I'm going to read that. I said, will you read that? And we just went back, and we just really hammered that, you know. And I said, I love you, and I care about you, and I'm going to be watching you. My children are like this. I bet, Daddy, watch. Daddy, watch. Daddy, watch. I'll be like, you do it. Don't worry about me watching. They go, I ain't doing it if you ain't watching. Y'all know what I'm talking about? My wife would do that. She'd say, you want to see what I got new to wear? I'll be like, yeah, go put it on. She'd be like, you going to look at it? You know what I mean? People are like that. So I told her, I said, I'm going to be watching you. Now, here's the text. I just wanted you to know that I had a meeting with myself this morning around 3. Sounds like she still had something going on, right? And I have decided no one, including myself, is keeping me from my goals of moving up this ladder right here. No one is going to keep me from moving up this ladder that I'm trying to climb and this business that I love. My new focus is on me and my success. Woo! That's what I'm talking about right there. I mean, so when I get these texts, people don't understand. People say, like, I don't want to bother you. Bother me. I've never had a meeting myself. Well, have a meeting with yourself. And make a decision while you're there with yourself. My new focus on me and my success. If I have to leave my baggage behind to do it, then I'm going to do it.
That's right. That's right.
Let it go. Let it go. Thank you for not giving up on me. I know you have had some really tough times this past year, and I know there may be more. There may be more. I have had some really tough times. I know there be more. My husband's days that I can think I can't get through, yeah. The days that I think about him, I know I can't get through unless I had the help of you and everyone in this company that wants to see me succeed. She don't want to let us down. Make me think about Forrest Gump right there. Do you remember that? When the captain said, Forrest, I want you to keep your head down and not get shot in this war. And Forrest looked over to his buddy and he said, I hope I don't let the captain down. You remember that? I'm with Forrest. I don't want to let the group down. I'm with this lady. I want to be an elite lady. I'm just saying. You see what I'm saying? See, this is what's happening in the alliance. You know, if there's somebody that I want to go and hear, listen to me, Adam, every story that she wants to tell, I want to be on a bus, getting ready to go see the Roman Coliseum. I want to go see the Leaning Tower of Pisa with her, and just her be sitting in the seat. I'm going to sit beside Jane, my wife, her sitting right in front of me, and I'm just leaning up there and just listening to her tell me these stories about things that's happened. Does that make sense? Everybody wants to tell about their stories. Who wants to win the right to tell their story? I want you to listen to my story. Yeah, Win the right. Now my children, I ain't got but 2 of them. Got about 3,000 or 4,000 agents. There's the line right there, baby. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Does that make sense? Come on over the line and let's win a trip. All right? So I got to looking. I asked Amber, I said, wouldn't it be cool if we had about 200 couples win this trip? 250 would be better, but that's too many sheets of paper. So I said just 200. So she printed out 200 of the people, the top 200 that are winning the cruise, the Mediterranean. Keep in mind, what is this? Is this a 7-night cruise? How many times are we on a ship? 7 nights on the ship, 8 days. And don't tell nobody, we're going to fly you in a night early, and you get to hang out that whole day in Barcelona, Spain. If you ain't never been there before. It's a pretty place. John Davis has paid $4,600 so far this year. That's in a month. So if you multiply that over 12 months, that'd give him about $55,000. You with me? He's got 11 months ahead. But he went team builder, and all he's got to do is get a guy selling, and one under him selling. Team builder. He got a $25,000 bonus in January just for becoming team builder. That's your team Levantovich. That's what I'm talking about. So that gives him $29,400, number 2 in the country. Right behind Minerve Profil, who, by the way, in her first month, she paid $39,888 in 1 month. On a 55% commission, that'd give her about $19,000, according to my mathematical calculation. In a month. Well, that's if she's on lowest contract level, but she ain't. She done been promoted, which means she's going to make over $30,000 in a month, right in business. Does that make sense? And my man, it's like people don't get this stuff. My man, Bob Blevins, has issued 521 and recruited, contracted 4 people. Not put them in class. I got them in class. Bob done got them out of class, got them contracted, and started. You understand the mathematics on that? That's Bob Blevins. You say, I bet he's got a lot of help. Yeah, him and a mouse in his pocket is what he's got, okay? You with me? He's got the help of the team. You with me? He's got the help of the team. But he's a guy who's out there, all right? If he'd have bought them boots, like I told him to when he was in Vegas, he'd be bigger business than he was. I didn't push him hard, but he should have bought them. Ron Osias, $25,000. Sarge Wilson done knocked out $22,000. Mark Hutchinson, $21,000. Chadwick Ray done knocked out $19,700 personal production and recruited 3 people direct to him in the first month. You see how that's working? Dane Levine done $17,000 and over 10 people recruited in with and wrote $17,000. Paul Menachino, smoking, $17,000 in premium, already hired 7 in WIT. Nikki, already $17,000. Marty Doggett, Michael Rodriguez, Jason Carey, $16,000 and hired 6 people in WIT. It just keeps, Asif, Brother, Junior, Richard, Scott, Ducharme, there he is, right there. They number 17 in the country. Already recruited 2 in width and put it 15,000 issue paid. Now, 15,000 times 12 puts them way over the 90,000 needed. Is this making sense? You said, wait a minute, are you telling me Minerva almost qualified in 1 month and 12-month contest? Mm-hmm. Lindsay, Elena is coming on. Debbie Ben, 6 in width, 14,000. Kevin, Danny, Adam Johnson, brand new key leader, already knocked out 14 grand and put in 8 in width. Yeah, I know. I'm telling you. My man Marcus, Joe Dukes, 13,000, 4 in width. Jason, Eric, MK. Michelle Alleman, 13,000 and 9 in width. Alvin, Eric, Andre, Ryan, Nathan, Tracy, Joey, Jan, Sarah, Gina. Okay, these people, 12,000 at the bottom of the list. At the bottom of the list, this is 80 people have did over 9,000 in a month. 9,000 times 12 is like, what is that? Like 118,000? And all you need is 90. 2 pages, 80 couples. Now, I got to tell you, January is a tough month because a lot of people take off for Christmas, New Year's, National Convention, January 2nd, January 3rd, the 4th. I mean, a lot of people, January's a tough month to knock out 20,000 with all the vacation days and holidays in there. So I don't recognize those as holidays. Well, you have to call these people up and ask them that didn't do nothing, and they'll tell you. 121 people over 6,000. That's close. We did have a couple of key leaders bust open. Where'd they go? David Villalba. Got it right. David Villalba. He did 10,000 bonus for going key leader already, and Danny McKee already. So I got 200 people right here, and if you go down, the 200th one can qualify. But understand, Minerva wrote 39,000. How many people into 20,000? 20,000. What does that take? 9 months? Plus, if you're brand new, you get that 25. Come with us. Come with us on these trips. Win these trips, please. You say, well, Andy, I want to have overrides and make millions of dollars. Me too. I want you to do that. We don't make no money unless we sell something. You say, well, Andy, should we sell and recruit? Right. Hire everybody you know. Talk. I talked to one of our top guys, and he said, Andy, I'm having trouble. I can't get to everybody. I said, let me explain something to you. This is what I told him. You don't have to do this, but I told him, I said, sleep less. He said, what do you mean? I said, sleep less. He said, what should I do during that time? I said, didn't you just tell me you couldn't get back to everybody? Use that time that you're sleeping less to call them. He said, that's brilliant. I said, I know. That's what I do. Whenever, let me explain something to you. When the strawberries are ripe, you got to do the picking. Do you understand what I'm saying? I used to work in tobacco. Now, you might not know that people used to set these plants on fire and suck the smoke off of the plants into their mouth. It was the craziest thing. They used to do it everywhere, America. We made millions of dollars pulling the plants and putting them together and tying them together in these little balls called cigarettes. Not as many people do it nowadays. There's still some people, thank you very much. Appreciate y'all hanging on. My mother and my family still makes money pulling those plants together. But when those plants get ripe, you got to get your butt out of bed at like 4 in the morning because that's the pickup truck be there by 5. Well, 4:15, 4:30. You got to jump on the back of the pickup truck and you got to get there because you don't want to be out in that field when it gets hot. You got to get the leaves off the plants when they're ripe. Does that make sense? I text somebody that about you got to get your buckets of strawberries ripe. He said, I cannot interpret this. You got to get it when the getting's good. You understand that one? Right now, everybody's getting in this business. I tell them, like, just run a Craigslist. I tell you what to do. Just call the people on your Facebook, friends of yours, and say, hey, look, we need some help. We got leads. What are you thinking? Could you help us out? You'd be surprised how many of them say, I was praying for something. I needed something. Can I make some money? I needed something to do. I need some hope. Now, you're probably going to be surprised how many people say, heck no, I don't want to do that. Well, let me give you a tip. Don't be surprised on a heck no, and don't be surprised on the absolutely I've been praying for this. And don't be surprised that you're actually calling them. Does that make sense? You say that's almost non-emotional. Yeah, make phone calls. Does that make sense? The strawberries are good. Because let me explain something to you. Every leaf on the plant ain't good. Every strawberry ain't good. But when they ripe, we got to start picking them all. We got to pick them all. And we'll let the fruit sorters sort the fruit. Is that? We're not going to sort the fruit. We're just going to pick the fruit. We're going to bring them in, and we're going to like put them out on the counter, and they'll be like, yep, nope. And people, but you understand is they get to choose when they come in the house. All right? Okay, all right. We're rocking through this. Strawberries are ripe. Let's rock and roll. I made some promises. I want to tell y'all one more thing on the recognition. See, you understand this, that when you're in business just you're one step, one car crash, one phone call away from being 100% out of business. But when you hire other people and they're selling and you're selling, you're minimizing your production. So you're not the most important thing. You're still the most important thing to you, and I love you, but you understand your income is not dependent on you. Does anybody get that? I mean, like I remember little figuring that out. You know, I had goats, and like I had this one goat, and I love that goat. My mama said, "Why you look at goat so much?" I said, "That goat have 3 babies every time she have babies." Okay, let me explain something to y'all. When the goatie have the baby, you take the baby and you sell them, and you make the rain. And rain makes corn. And corn makes whiskey. You with me? And whiskey make my baby. Does this make sense? You say, but you're a little boy. I wanted a baseball bat. I wanted some cotton candy. I wanted some cash. So when the goat have a baby, I get cash. Goat have 2, I get twice as much. This goat have 3. I love Molly. You understand what I'm saying? I just mathematically, I got that. People are like, you're special. I go, you mean special like special, or do you mean a special like? I have right here special people. All of these people have hired an agent and they're selling. Let's look at this. All of these people have people that are selling, that have somebody selling. It's not just them in the game. And so what I said, how many are they who got somebody selling? So I flipped to the bottom. There's 400. No, I thought that's too small of a number. There's, I'm special, all right. I'm going to get it. Okay, there's 424 that have one person selling. And I was like, what if you just got 2? And so I flipped through there, and I was like, well, that's a whole page. I ain't listening to this all day. We got to move here. And I looked to here, and I was like, nope. Another page. Look, all of them, just one. I was like, how special would that one have that has 2? You with me? And I went from 420. Look, I'm still, people just got one. I was like, just a little bit more. You know, just a tiny bit. Good gosh, I'm skipping 3 pages at a time. All right, you're all the way over here. You're in the top 183. One more. See, you're this close. Now, one day of doing this much more does not a champion make. But a little bit today and a little bit tonight. And then if you go to bed a little bit later, get up a little bit earlier, just a little bit, and you jumped past 300 and some people. Does that make sense? Okay, mathematics wasn't right on that, but you get the point. 200 and some people. 3 people. How special is it to go to 3 people? 3 people, you jump all the way up to the top 103 in the United States of America. You see why I like Molly? Does that make sense? Special. Nothing. Means nothing in most people's mind. But in my mind, that's top 100 right there. Top 100, United States of America. 333 million people, and you're in top 100. Does that make sense? So you just keep popping through this thing, and then it starts to get tight. Just get 4, and it's crazy. You get 4, and where does that stop? Who does that give us? That gets us in the top. With 5 gets us into 48. Danny Keyby got 5. Devin got 5. Linda, Twig, Russ got 5. Kimberly, 5. Junior, Ricky, 5. Dane, 5. George, 5. Joe Dukes, 5. Mark, 5. And then it goes into 6. Look, we're on the second page when you just got 6. It's such, run an ad. Call the people on your Facebook. So what if I had to call 100? What if you had to call 106? What if you had to call 22? What if you find 2 and 22? Well, get comfortable, because the next 86 might be terrible. Does that make sense? You're just making phone calls. Patrick, 9. Jay, 9. Ben, 9. Kyle, 9. Kyle, 9. Chris, 10. Carrie, 10. Loventovich, 10. Paul, 11. Brant, 12. Andy, not this Andy, 12. Eric Belair, 11. 11 in the country with 13 different people selling. You go, he ain't got but 13. He made $500,000 last year, people. What are you thinking? You say, well, that just don't seem like much. I know. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That bar is so low. And let me explain to you. More people after the national convention started recruiting than we'd ever had in the history of the country. More people started attending. So what I'm telling y'all is everybody's doing it. Congratulations. I'm fired up for you. When you get up into the 15, Michelle has 15, Alex has 15, James 14, Eric, Michael 15, Adam 18, Stephen 18, Fitz 18, Bill Lampy 25, and I only have 68 different legs. Does that make sense? Like I look at that and I go, seriously? That's it? Oh, God. And then I go, I've been doing it for 24 years. People say, I'd be really depressed. Not if money makes you happy. You would not be, if you looked at your number of legs, you'd be like, this is very disappointing. So you're very disappointed with your one. Do a little bit more, run one little bitty ad. Y'all hear what I'm telling you? This is big stuff right here. Big life-changing stuff. Now I got to get into some other life-changing stuff. Okay. Does that help y'all at all understand what I'm telling you? It's like, Tony, it's not complicated. You say, you can literally make millions of dollars just by having 18 different organizations started. Yeah. I'll get 12 overnight. I'm with you. I believe you can. Mike, today, everything you've done, all you need is a spurt. Have 4 more. That's right. I can tell you, Michelle, they had that. They had a spurt. Adam, he's been working a full-time job. When he got out of job, he had a spurt. What I would have continued to do, Adam, I understand you just quit your job and you're full-time now. Don't let up. Don't let up. Not now. The failures you've had are enough to make the failures you've had are not enough to make a decision yet. That goes for several of you. The failures you've had are not enough failures to make a decision yet. You can't come to a conclusion yet on the results of keeping going and keeping failing. All right. Okay. Here we go. I've sent out several subject lines. Starts out with this. One is, this is my favorite, is 10 things I will never, ever, possibly ain't gonna do. Never. I only sent that out one time and I went, that is a lie. So then I sent another one out and said 10 things I shouldn't ought to ever do again. And then I was like, 10 things I need to never do again. So these are if I could just do like that, these are 10 things I will never do again. So what I would invite you is to consider, Mike, consider Scott, Rochelle, don't ever do again. Okay? Consider. Matter of fact, I'd say don't ever. I mean, that's what I don't tell my children. Don't ever do these 2 things. Don't even do it the first time. Okay. The one thing, have y'all ever done something stupid?
Oh, yeah.
Here's the good news about doing something stupid. You don't have to do it again. How many of y'all already starting your list in your head going, I know one thing I never want to do again? Lessons will be repeated until the point is learned. So I've got a million of these. One that I've almost solved. I think I'm going on 7 months clean with this one. My wife said, why do you leave dishes in the sink? And I'm thinking that's where you put dishes. But I didn't say that. I don't remember what I said. Because I don't remember what I said. But she explained that the dishwasher was right there close by. I am saying this in a much calmer manner in which this conversation took place. You say, you would never, with the money y'all make and you got a maid, just you mind your business. You listen to the story. Try to think about you and not me. So I said, I don't remember what I said, but here's the way it went. Bad. And I went outside, which is what I tell people to do to get a perspective. I looked out, I was like, in the scheme of things, what she said to me and what she promised to do to me is not as big as the scheme of things. So it's not that bad. And then I thought to myself, how are you going to prevent this in the future? And I thought, maybe I could coach her up. I had been married 27 years at that point. I've been married 28 now. And I went, it just hit me like a bolt of lightning. I'm not going to leave dishes in the sink anymore. So then I was like, how am I going to remember that? Because I'll forget something in a minute. So I put a note in my calendar. I put, I said, put the dishes, so you don't tell yourself what not to do, you tell yourself what to do. I put in there, you can look at it, it says, put dishes in the dishwasher. And then there's a place in my calendar that says, repeat how often, and I'll put daily. So it pops up on my calendar every day, put dishes in the dishwasher. I'm telling you, 7 months, nada. One day, I thought I had been discovered. She come in there and she said, what are you doing? I said, I'm putting dishes in the dishwasher. She said, the dishes in the dishwasher are clean. I said, I don't care. I'm not ever leaving anything in the sink again. She looked at me like I'd lost my mind. And she got a little mad. But I noticed, I reflected back. As mad as she was about leaving them in the sink, she just thought I was stupid for putting them in the dishwasher when they were clean. You see the resulting thing? So I didn't say nothing. She didn't say, it pretty much went over, and I was like, boom, yow. So yesterday morning, one morning this week, we was sitting there, and my phone popped up, put the dishes in the dishwasher. She said, why does that pop up on your phone? I said, so I won't forget. And she said, well, that makes sense. You see what I'm saying? Lessons will be learned. A man told me this a long time ago. You might not have heard this or believe in this thing, but it was the guy on the boat that screams at the people that are doing the rowing, and he had a whip and he was beating them, and he was telling them, he said, look, the beatings will continue until the attitude improves. That's got to be a challenge, to be getting whooped until the attitude is changed. But I was like, I guess you could start whistling, or You know what I mean? What could you do? You're like, woo, happy birthday, or ain't it pretty outside? Woo! So I could be like, does that make sense? It's things that you're not going to do that just don't help. Okay? In short, you got it. There's so many different things that you can get your mind right on this. Okay. This is number one that I'm not ever going to repeat. I'm not going to return to something that didn't work. Okay, now, here's what I tell people all the time. They'll say things like, I'll be like, so how did you sell 5,000 a week 4 weeks ago? And they say, well, I booked 20 appointments. Well, how many did you book this week? 4. Okay. Other weeks that you've not sold much, how many appointments did you book? Either none or 4 or 3. Now, weeks that you sold a lot, I made more phone calls. See the trend? Why do people return to what didn't work? Because they get bored with what's working and they're sucked into the drama. I am going to continue to do what works, and I'm not going to return to what did not work. That's my plan. Let me give you a tip. If something is not listen, I got several couples out there, like if I go, hey, I want to call like Russ, Steve, Wes, Sherry, Shelly, Mary, Victoria. I want to tell y'all personally, but you've got to take this personal. If you think you're active and the results are not equivalent to what you thought your activity was, you're doing something wrong. You see, he said, I'm working hard. Like that couple I was talking about, I talked to the manager, and he said neither the husband or the wife, they've returned to what wasn't working, which is not making phone calls, not doing activity. I'm going to try my best not to return to busy work. Okay. I'm going to try the best to keep doing what's working. I am going to watch what I do, like making phone calls, calling new people, calling agents, say, hey man, how you doing? How's it going? How can I help you? What's the biggest challenge you have? Listen to them, try to answer them, not critique them, just encourage them. I'm going to try to stay on that. So my goal is to never return. Okay, number 2. I'm never going to do anything that requires me to be somebody I'm not. This is a very tricky one right here, okay? Let me tell you how this works. What I am is so small, I don't have to worry about being somebody I'm not. A lot of people, they try to be so big, they have to be somebody they're not. In other words, I'm real clear and I'm real small. Like, y'all know, I think you know me. Like, I know how little I know. But here's what I know. When I make phone calls, I book appointments. When I have appointments to go to, I go to them. When I go appointments, I sell more. When I make money, it makes rain. And rain makes corn. You understand what I'm telling you? When I go into a hole, so see, the problem is, and that might work, this could work, this angle where I am clear and I share clarity. Because when people say, you think this guy, this guy's this religion, you think he's going to heaven? I was like, I hope so. He said, why? Because I like him. So you think that's going to do it? I said, I don't know, I got to make some phone calls. Does that make sense? See how I ducked that one? You want me to be the guy who tells him whether he's going to go to heaven or hell, or purgatory, or comes back as a canary, or comes back as Jane's pet, my wife's pet. That would be awesome. Okay? That'd be like, anyway, You get the idea? I'm not going to be that guy. I'm so dadgum little and simple. I'm not going to do something that requires me to become somebody. Does that make sense? Like, you don't have to become me. You don't have to become me. But what you have to do is, you have to be real clear. You have to have character. People say, you want to go do this? Mm-mm. Why? They'll arrest you. Not if they don't catch us. If I ain't going to do it, I ain't going to run the risk. Does that make sense? It's just simple character, clarity. I'm going to be little. I don't have to become Mr. Politician. I don't have to become Mr. Religion. I don't have to become, what do you think? You think Trump's going to win? I said, that jerk gets enough votes, he going to win. People say, what are you going to do? I said, I ain't decided yet. I'm going to make some phone calls right now. You want to come watch? I mean, I'm riding down the road. People be talking to me. Seriously, be talking to me. I know friends of mine, they call this rude. You know what I do? I apologize. I say, I apologize if this is rude. And while they're still talking, I don't even say it loud. I say, I apologize if this is rude. And I'll dial one of my agents, one of my buddies that I'm trying to recruit, and I'll just dial him right there. And if he picks up, I'll start talking. I'll say something like, hey, doing, Bo? What's up, man? What's happening in your life? You killing it? Scratching out a living? You getting rich? Looking for some good people? Looking for somebody with a drink? I mean, I just start asking questions. You've heard me do it. You've heard me call. That's what I do. What's the person in the over? I don't know. Say, ever get mad? Never. Well, relatives. Relatives who think they can tell me what to do get frustrated. You know why? Because they ain't getting what they want. You hear what I'm saying, Tony? They get mad because they ain't getting what they want. They want me to focus on them 100%. They say, you ought to. I said, well, I'm making phone calls. That's the only problem. It's just my dadgum phone calls that's getting in between me and focusing in them. And I focused in them all the way to the, I know sometime I wasn't on the phone. Not many times. Adam Katz, with me last night, we'd be talking. I'd be dialing. That's a great question. Hold on a second. I apologize. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not that guy. What do you think about this guy, Andy? This guy, this agent, he's trying to do this. He's trying to charge 3 times as much than he's trying to get to people's money. What do you think about him? I go, I ain't got time to study that. I'm looking for a guy who copies me. Does that make sense? Like, I don't have all that time. So I'm not trying to be somebody I'm not, but it's tricky. The tricky part is I don't try to be somebody. The least I'm a nobody. Hey, that's what I tell these rich people, like when they see me or the president's company, they say, how you doing, Albright? I say, scratching out a living, Bo. I don't go like, I'm the president overlooking the distribution of the insurance. You with me? Because then he's going to have something to say to me, and I'm going to have to be somebody that I'm not, which is smart, intelligent, insightful, predicting the future. That's not me. Does that make sense? Now, he says, what do you think on the future? Here's what I'll tell him. I said, if we sell some more insurance, we'll bring in some more premium. And sometimes they look at me kind of funny, but I know they can't argue with that kind of logic. I'll be like, if everybody keeps their attitude right, we're going to have a great attitude out there. And then he say, what do you need to do? I say, you need to encourage people to have a good attitude. And you need to tell them that there's billions of dollars out there in the marketplace. And here's what they'll say to me. You want me to tell your agents there's billions of dollars? I said, is there? Oh, God, yeah. I said, well, then tell them that. You see how low I am? Like, how you argue with that kind of logic, Bo? But I get people, I'm not kidding you, people come with the most complicated, convoluted discussions that they try to have with me. And I go like, you're trying to be somebody you ain't. Because you ain't that smart. Here's how smart you about right down here with me. Just tell the truth. Quit trying to be that guy up there. I'm not going to be somebody I ain't. I'm not going to have that intelligent, brilliant, political, religious, who's going to hell, who's going to get what seat. You with me? Now here's what I think. I think the better I do, the better place I'm going to be. You say, what if you do the best you can do and it don't end up good? Well, at least I have done the best I can do. But I'm not going to do what I think is the minimum to get me over and find out the line was just a little bit higher. I'll be like, shoot. Should have done better. Does that make sense? I've had people barely miss Mediterranean cruise. I guarantee you, write this down. There's going to be people barely miss, and they're going to say, I did all I could do. I said, you came up short. And then I'm going to look at them and go, did you really do all you could do? Did you do all you on Tuesday on, what's today's date? January? February what? 10th. So February 10th. How many phone calls you make that day? Well, that day I was sick. Did you try to make it up next day? Uh-huh. See, that's where you messed up. You got to give it 100% when you're sick, 100% when you ain't sick. Does that make sense? Well, you don't understand what happened. I had a death in the family. It's going to happen. The older you get, more people in your family are going to die. More people you know. Your friends are going to be older, parents are going to be older, uncles, aunts, everybody's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. Does that make sense? So, well, you just depressed when you talk about that. All you got to do is make phone calls, Bo. You just got to sneak them in here and there. So I'm not going to try to be somebody I'm not. Okay, now, all right. Politics, really, arrogance. Oh, God. Oh, I got to say this and try to be. Have y'all noticed this? People who are desperate and cocky, like a combination of like, we've got the greatest thing, I'll give you more. You see what I'm saying? They're desperate. Like one boy, he's up north, he said, it's like this agent was telling me, like, you need to come do what I'm doing. And I said, no. So he pulled his dress a little higher. I was like, what? He said, you know, he showed me more leg. I was like, what? He started dropping his price. He started increasing his pay. He started going to do things for me for free. He started slobbering all over me. And I was like, was he real confident in his program? He said, yeah. I said, did he seem desperate? He said, yeah. I said, does desperate and cocky attractive? He said, no. It made me kind of sick. You with me? Desperate and desperate. They'll give you anything, do anything for you, but yet they're cocky as everything. I tell you another bad combination that I've noticed is arrogant and broke. They know everything. They know everything, but they got no money. You just look at me and go like, you know, I mean, I'm not trying to be judgmental, but it just bothers me. You with me? I don't want to be somebody who I'm not. Like, just, because why would you, does that mean arrogant and broke, arrogant and not growing, arrogant and going backwards? Like, bro, you're trying to be somebody you're not. All right, real quick, try to change another person. I am determined not to try to change people. Now, here's what I have heard in the past. People change but seldom. Like, people don't change is what the point of that is. People change but seldom. Oh, this one may be good or may be bad. Did y'all know that men marry women hoping they never change? And women marry men hoping they change. Well, oh, God. Listen to this. Instead of trying to make them change, Mike, I'm going to give them the opportunity to deal with the consequences. Ow, 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 ow. I'm going to give them a chance to see. Now, here's what the Alliance believes. Here's what I believe. It's what we believe. It's what all our leaders believe. It's what Mike Leventovich believes. It's what Adam Katz believes. It's people change. People change when they hurt enough, when they grow enough, or when they receive enough. Some people say people change when they hit the bottom. I'd be like, that when they hurt enough. I think that covered that. Hurt enough. But so I understand that your past can repeat itself. I can tell you it don't have to, and I can tell you can change. You can choose to grow. You can choose to pour in audios into your head. You can choose to stand beside the people that are changing and growing and making more money and successful and happy. That's your choice. You can read the books of successful people and you can learn their strategies. You can change. We believe, like Urkel believes, you got a shot. That's all I ever wanted was that shot to change. My daddy, not so much. My granddaddy, not so much. Me, I had a shot. Mama, not so much. Grandma, not so much. Granddaddy on that side, I don't even begin to want to tell you stories I heard. Never met the guy, just the stories cracked me up. Here's another thing. When people change with us, we don't say, told you so. We say, welcome aboard. Good job. In other words, they're going to try and keep beating their head on the wall trying to get out the door. And then they say, hey, I think I'm going to walk out here through the door. We go. Good stuff. We like that. Proud of you. Good decision. Way to rock and roll. That's good stuff. We don't get mad at them. And we don't try to beat them up. And we don't say, because of that, because you changed late. We're thrilled that you made that change. This lady, when I met her, when I was reading a quote, when she was like she was, I'm thrilled. I didn't even give you a time frame, did I? You don't know whether it happened over 6 months, a year, or 30 minutes. I just know that it happened. And that's what we celebrate, is that change, that decision. But I am not going to try to change people that don't want to be changed. Matter of fact, I'm not changing people. I'm not changing people that want to be changed. They got to change themselves. But I will throw out the example. I will show the way. I will say, this is what I'm doing. Come watch. Okay? Oh God, I will never believe that I can please everybody. Oh, I remember this was a very, very, very difficult one. I think I got it down, so I will never try to make everybody happy again. I have limited my number of people to make happy. How limited are you? I can tell you this. I don't want to tick off God. Let me put it another way. I want God to be happy. That just sounds crazy to me, that He'd be happy with me. That He would say, well done, good job, faithful, appreciate you. That seems like too much to me. But I sure don't want to make Him mad. Now, that guy, that woman, that person, their opinions, I cannot make them happy. I'm not going to try to make everybody happy. You're going to try to make a lot of people happy? Yeah. My wife. My God. My fastest growing, most productive people. I'm going to try to make Stephen Davis happy. You know how I'm going to do that? I'm going to call him up and say, congratulations, buddy. Way to go. Proud of you and Holly. Oh, Marcus and Carla Richardson. Y'all see them on stage at the convention? Growing, hiring, selling, recruiting with Adam Johnson, with bought tickets. Does that make sense? Why don't you want to make people happy Sir Francis Drake? There's a lady on the corner there, and there was a person squatting down talking to him. I was like, what if I ought to jump in there and try to help squat down and talk to this homeless person too? You with me? I was like, she's talking to her. I can't try to make I can't make everybody happy. I got to pick and choose. And my list is very, very, very tiny. See, people are going to tell you this. They're going to say, you should. That's what they're going to say. You need to decide what you're dealing with, who they talk to. I got a quote from Jim Rohn, if I can pop this up real quick. He said, Jim Rohn is very famous for helping people and changing lives by giving great advice. He said, you must constantly ask yourself these questions. Who am I around? What are they doing to me? Like if you're around me, what am I doing to you? Am I beating you? Am I loving on you? Am I telling you can do it? Am I cheering your success? Am I giving you prizes? What am I doing? What are they doing to you? What have they got you reading? I had a friend. His recommended reading material did not seem conducive to a happy and fun marriage and God life. You with me? He's like, read this. I ain't got time to read that. First time I read it, I was like, that's funny. And then I thought, this is going to be worse than the dishes. I can't, I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, what do they got you reading? Think and Grow Rich, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living, Power of Positive, you know, what do they got you reading? What do they have you saying? Are they telling you to beat people up if they don't sell? What are they saying to you? Be nice to everybody. What are they saying to you? What are you hearing? What are they saying to you? What do they tell you to say? What have they got you saying? Where do they have you going? What do they have you thinking? And most important, what do they have you becoming? Then you're asked yourself question, is this okay? Is it okay what they're saying? Life does not get better by chance. It gets better by change. That was a big one. Your life don't get better by chance. It gets better by change. One young lady sent me a text, and she said, I know I'm starting to really work more because my parents called me in and said, sit down, come over here, have a cup of coffee with us. We want to know, are you starting to date somebody new? She's at her home and living with her parents, and they said, are you starting to date somebody new? And she was like, why? And they go, we noticed you coming in later. We noticed you leaving earlier, different times. And she was like, yes. You with me? And I said, did they get into telling you you're working too much? Okay, look at this. Because some parents, it's okay if you date 4 nights a week and you're gone 4 nights, but it ain't okay if you go out there and try to make it rain 4 nights. You with me? Now, I got to explain something to you. You make it rain, it's easier to get a date. I'm just telling you. I'm telling you. It attracts them like mosquitoes to a light, baby. It'll bring them both, you know. But see, that parents, So, or they say, you're going to work yourself to death. You're going to burn your, I like this one. You're burning the candle at both ends. Every time my mama used to say, your mama didn't say it to you. Yes, you would. I'd be like, I don't know that one, Mom. How does that one go? You know, like, I got all these sayings too, like you can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. And I had to explain this to city folks. A pig has an ear. A female one, called a sow, you take their ear off, you can't sew it together and make a silk purse. You can make a sow's ear purse, but you can't make no silk, because see, a silk is extruded stuff that comes from a caterpillar. Silk. You with me? You can't make a silk purse out of it. So that one makes sense to me. Burning at both ends of the candle. You mean to say I'm working a lot because I don't like being poor? Now don't say like you, because that'll get them mad. Matter of fact, you shouldn't say anything but, I apologize, I wasn't thinking, I slipped up and I worked 2 nights in a row and I'm sorry, my bad, I apologize, I'll do better tomorrow. You said, what do you do tomorrow? Depends on how bad I want to be not broke. Because for me, most of the time, I do the same thing. I do it again. I make more phone calls. Does that make sense? Yeah, it do. I can't change everybody. All right, this one. I will never choose. This is another one where I go. I will never choose short-term pain over long-term wealth, long-term success, long-term happiness. I was thinking, I'm only on number 5. I was thinking probably before tomorrow, I'll be done screwed up on all 3 of these. All 10 of these. You with me? Choose short-term comfort over long-term. Successful people know that time-limited steps, although painful, get some long-term benefits. I read that and it hurt me. But that's the way it works. That's the way it works. You schedule phone calls, you're bored, people talk junk to you, you get better, you book an appointment, you make a sale. Hello? I'm going to pick long-term benefits. What's the longest term you can think about, Andy? Eternity. So what are you doing about that? Well, now you're getting personal. Does that make sense? What I do know is when it ends, when my life, which is just poof, I don't want to look back and go, I didn't help nobody but myself. Nobody on my team grew. My family didn't benefit. I didn't give nothing to my preacher. I didn't give nothing to the charities. I didn't give away nothing. I took it all in, and I just brought it in like a black hole, just brought it into me and held it. I don't think that's going to be a good thing. I want to look back and say, well, I didn't help as many as I could, but I helped a few. That reminded me on the I don't want to be somebody I can't be. There's a guy named Paul that was a story about him in the Bible, and he said this. He said, I became all things to all people so that I could help a few, or so I could save a few, is what he said. So in other words, when I said I was being small and I wouldn't go out and try to argue with you about a subject, because I'm trying to be all things to all people so that I can save a few. You say, well, don't you feel like that country song says, you know, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Shouldn't you stand for something? I stand for something right here. I'm not standing for something over there that's going to get in your face. I'm going to stand on this, which you can't argue with. I will stand on a tiny hole, a tiny spot that you can't argue with me. I'm so daggum small, I'm hard to hit. Some people are so big and so arrogant and so confident, you can take chips off of them. See, perfection is not what you become. It's when there's nothing else to be removed. That'll mess you up right there. I don't like that one either. But I don't make these rules. Does that make sense? I don't get to pick them based on I like them. Because y'all all know if I got to pick them like I like them, we'd eat more chocolate and more donuts and get skinnier by the day. I'm 100% for that rule, but I just read them, right? I read the rules and I call them like I see them. Okay. All right. Short-term benefit. Let me sure. All right. Okay. Is this comment, I will choose short-term, is it really a dream or a vision comment? Because people that don't have dreams or visions will pick the short-term easy every time. Or if the dream is mediocre and comfort, if your dream is to make $100,000, and by the way, you can use $2 million. If your dream was to make $2 million and to give away $200,000 a year, boom, yow. That's when you start having problems. You say, you believe people can have problems at $2 million? Heck yeah. I was just listening. It's like I listened to everybody else's audios. I was listening to one of my audios the other day. I was listening. I was like, that's a good point. I was talking about a guy that would go 500 pounds over his expected weight. And he had hundreds of millions of dollars, and he was trying to give it away because that's all he focused on was getting money. He never gave it away. And now he was trying to feel better about himself, his inside self, his physical self, trying to give all his money away. So his graph looked like, woo, woo. Does that make sense? It's the vision. My vision was that I'm going to be a good person, that I'm going to have a family, and I'm going to be wealthy. I didn't never figure I was going to be a scratch golfer. I didn't never think I was going to know every quarterback's name on every NFL team. I didn't think I was going to be the best fisherman in the world. Now, I fish anywhere in the world that I want to. I hunt anywhere in the world. I play on any golf I want to. But I never had a goal to shoot 60 or 65. Does that make sense? It's such a limited goal. It was a goal that I want to serve my God. I want to have a family. I want to have a wife and children. And I wanted to have friends and a business. That was it. It's tiny. Now, so my deal was long-term vision and what I'm shooting for. So when you lose vision, when you lose sight, then you perish. So you can perish at any level if you don't get that right. Oh, gosh. Hey, 2 reasons people mess up on that short term. Mess up relationships, mess up themselves. Meaning, they can't figure themselves out and they can't figure out relationships. Like returning phone calls, giving a compliment, saying thank you, saying I appreciate it, paying for what you get, giving out some too. Does that make sense? It's stuff where they mess up themselves or they mess up relationships. Mess up relationships, mess up. And relationship, okay, so, all right, short term, long term. All right, 6, trust someone that appears perfect or flawless. Okay? Ain't been but one. Let's just talk about the rest. Ain't nobody perfect. The ones that think they are, nose up in the air. I have had so many successes in my life. And like, oh, I'm just not buying into it. What I see, I don't see a bad person, but when I see a person, I know there's stuff that they don't do right. You go, not Tim, not Brian, not Billy. Yeah, Billy. You mean the big Billy? Yeah, the big Billy. I mean the big guy that's done all kinds of good stuff. You mean the Tim, the important Tim that we know and love? Yeah. You mean Brian, the guy that when we listen to him speak, we believe it? Yeah, I know. I don't buy it. And you know what? All three of them will tell you, I'm a disaster. I'm the biggest mess up. And I go, welcome to the crowd. But these people that never admit mistakes, never have a debate, never have to check with anybody on anything because they know. They done studied it. And they know. That's when, you know what? That's when you get in trouble. It's when you know. And it ain't what you know that's right. It's what you know that's wrong. And it ain't what you don't know because you don't know, you check. But you know when it's wrong and then you do without checking. So when a guy starts telling me he's perfect, girl starts telling me perfect, a scheme that's perfect. A guy called me the other day, had an investment scheme. I was like, Bo, this thing stands too perfect for me. He said, seemed like perfect, be good. I said, no, I got a rule never to go with perfect again. I'm going with disasters and problems. He says, is it too late to tell you how big of a disaster our company is? I was like, yeah, you should have started with that. You want people, you want to believe in people who sweat, who try, who travel, who know what this looks like right here. It's hand on steering wheel, knuckles, windshield. You want people that go like, shoulder right there, and you go like, is it coming from this right here? And they go, yeah, go get a headset. Use a speakerphone sometimes. In other words, people that are after it is what I like. Respect. I'm telling you, I'm going to come out way better not thinking people are perfect. Arrogant nose in the air. I ain't got time. I tell you what, you know something else? To me, that's where that sarcastic people. Only sarcastic people that they want to point out every flaw. Like they're the ones that laugh the hardest when there's a mistake. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Well, there's something wrong, or like, oh, geez whiz, you know, and they want to repeat your mistake for you. Or Adam, Scott does something wrong, and they go like, ha, and they got this wisecrack about how he didn't do this or he didn't do that, and and it's funny. There's humor in it, but it's putting him down, or it's putting her down just a little bit in the name of funny. I'm like, bro, seriously? That's my friend. You know, let's move on. So what if they take time to talk about somebody in it? Well, what we need to do is make some phone calls. So that's in that. I'm not believing people that think they're perfect and they think they're poopy, don't stinky. All right, seventh, almost last here. Take my eyes off the big picture. I refuse to ever take my eyes off the big picture. What's the concept? What are we trying to accomplish? What is your big picture? What are you really trying to do in life? Like a lot of people, that's the problem. They go, I didn't know I had to know that. I go, well, it's hard to keep your picture on the big picture if you don't have a big picture. What's your big picture? What's your goal? I know an 18-year-old kid, he says, my goal is to be a multi-millionaire. That's a big picture. I need to get him a bigger picture. But until now, at least he's got a big picture. See, because quitting school, becoming a problem, becoming a hassle, making some mistakes got eliminated because of the size of his picture. My big picture. I told you what my big picture. But I'm never going to take my eyes off the big picture. I'm never going to look at the little stuff. And people get me all the time. They'll go, hey, let me tell you about this. That's a little picture. But it's so tempting because it's so drama-filled and gossip-filled that I want to drop down into that little picture. I want to get down in there because it's so interesting. And I go, whoa, promised myself I'd never take my eyes off the bigger picture. I got a nice text from a couple. Talked to a cross line, and the cross line talked them out of quitting. What I want to say to them is, what's your goal? What's your big picture? Because they were considering giving up on their dream or their goal. He said they wasn't going to give it up. They're just going to get a job. I have plenty of people that have a job that write more business than they do full-time. They're full-time. They don't have a job. I've got people with jobs that write more business. Does that make sense? So I'm sitting there going like, wonder what their big picture goal is in life. What are they thinking? Because what happens is when you have small, big pictures, obstacles don't have to be that big to stop you. It's not complicated. If you have small, big picture, then a small obstacle can stop you. Like, we're out of money. That's a tiny obstacle. I know people have went bankrupt, came back bankrupt, and become multimillionaires. Why would you stop at that? Oh, no, I'm going to stop doing this. Oh, you're going to start doing something else at that age? At this age? Right now? You've already got all this invested. You already see him doing good and him doing good, her making millions, her making $300,000, her making, how much y'all going to make this year? Over $500,000. What y'all make last year? $320,000. Jane Hill. $300,000. What? And you going to give up? What, are you not good as them? You say, are you putting them down? No, I'm lifting them up. I'm going, you're at least as good as them. Does that make sense? I'm like, why would you think that? What is your big goal? Is your big goal not EVP? Is it not NM? What's your vision? Don't give up on that. Don't take your eye off the prize. I like my guy that does exercise on me. He's so good to me. He says, up, down. I'm like, okay, up, down. He'd be like, one more time, up, down. He'd be like, just keep doing that, up, down. He'd be like, 10 more seconds. I'd be like, thank God. But this up, down stuff. Does that make sense? He puts, like, you want to be healthy, you want to live longer, and then he takes these tiny goals like up, down, like up, down, up, down. I'm like, being rich is so much easier than being healthy. I like it. You drive your car, you press the gas, you press the brake. With mine, you put it in drive, take it out of drive. I love it. I love my car. You put it in drive. It's the craziest put it in drive I've ever seen. The park, you just tap this little button and it goes in park. You don't have to move anything. Just press a button and put it in park. No matter where you are, it's the craziest thing I've ever seen. I like that. I like the easiness of wealth. Now, he said, healthy is easy. You just eat less. I was like, that's not easy. This making sense to y'all? Okay. Don't take your eyes off. I would beg you. Perspective. I do tell people when you're in a mess, go outside, look around, see how little you are. It sounds bad at first because, like, I tell people, if you lose a child, lose a parent, get your arm cut off, lose your eyesight, somebody repossesses your car, somebody calls you and tells you that they're going to come, you're going to kick you out of the house and you got to move into a smaller house with parents. And I go outside and look around. Does it look like the earth is shaking? Are the clouds coming closer in? No, the world is just going on because you don't matter. You go, that's terrible. I always feel better when I realize I don't matter. Because then I figure, I can't screw this up. All I got to do is get up. Does that make sense? Like if I get up, it's like becoming a multimillionaire. That was one of my decisions. I was like, I came to the conclusion, nobody's going to notice. I just come to the conclusion. Because at first I was like, this will be a big deal. Like, this would be a big deal if I got rich. Nope, nobody cared. I don't know does that make any sense to you? Like, nobody would care. So, like, if something really bad happens to you, realize and say, nobody cares. I care, and V cares, and Adam cares. and Andy cares. But you understand what I'm saying? It's like in the scheme of things, where's your perspective on it? You know what I mean? Like I like going to Super Bowl, but people are like, Carolina lost. I was like, yeah, they did. Okay, in the scheme of things, I don't sleep with the Carolina Panthers. You understand? That's my wife. I don't go to dinner with Devon or whatever his dub name is. What's the guy's name? Cam? I don't go to dinner with him. I went to dinner with Jane. Does that make sense? I don't know none of the offensive linemen's name. I don't care if they let them sack him. Now, I wanted them to win because I know my wife will be happier, which ties into the ring. Does that make sense? I wanted her to be happier, but I like because they're from North Carolina. But you understand, like, I mean, my favorite thing is they don't pay my bills. Like, I pull for the Wolfpack, but I'm telling you, they lose. People are like, you upset? I go, they don't pay my bills. That's a whole lot bigger scheme, me taking care of my kids and my family, than that. I want them to win a national championship, and I'm going to give them money. I'm going to fly the coaches around on my plane. We're going to do some recruiting. I'm going to talk to them, too, when they're up there. I'm going to say, hey, let me just tell you one thing y'all need to work on, and they're going to have to sit there and listen, too. I'm not kidding. I got some things I want to say to them. I've been meaning to tell them. But in the scheme of things, you know I ain't kidding. You know I ain't kidding, cameraman. In the scheme of things. Okay, so like, here's one thing in the scheme of things. My new car, you press a button, and it becomes Wolfpack red. You go like, what? You got to see this, dude. I'm not kidding you. Cats, is it true? Andy Lee, is it true? Now, Carolina friends get in, I press a button, and the thing comes Carolina blue. You said, no way. It's awesome. In the scheme of things, it's not that important. But in my life, it's big. I've got sunset orange for those of you. I've got the Wolfpack red. I've got the Wolfpack red. I've got the red dawn for those of you that think that people are going to come out of parachutes and attack America again. I've got the purple for the majestic. I got the Carolina blueies. I got the Duke blue, and then I got the light silver, and then it go white. In the scheme of things, it make no difference. But how much I paid for that, I have no idea. That makes sense. You show what I'm saying? It's like, this is a big little. Start big, think little. I can't get into that whole talk, but it's think big, think little. Okay? Never make decisions without checking my decision. Never neglect due diligence. All I want to do is never make a decision for him saying, Cats, what do you think? I asked my wife something last night. I was like, baby, here's what we're thinking about changing the rule on the cruise contest. She said, why are you asking me? I said, I'm checking my thinking, which was a good thing. So I'm checking my thinking. What I was thinking was, I want you to feel important, so I asked you what you thought. That's what I was thinking in my head when I asked her about it. But I didn't say that. I said, I'm checking my thinking. Does that make sense? Okay, so I said, well, let's see what you thought, checking my thinking. I also ran it by 5 or 6 more people and got their thinking. Now, I got all their thinking. Now, I got it together. It's a varied opinion. I got a decision. Boom, y'all. I want to check my decision. I don't want to just say, I know. And then I want to make sure, people ask me sometimes, do you think he just agreed to you? Do you think he just agreed with you? And I'm going like, I don't pick people who only agree, but I pick people who will say the opposite of what I say, and then when I make a decision, they don't get mad. This is big. But I don't want them to agree with me, but I don't want them to freak when I do the exact opposite of what their opinion is, because they got to understand I'm not just talking to one person. Does that make sense? So when you're talking to me, and you hear what Stephen Davies thinks, and you hear what Diane thinks, you with me? And we all agree, and then you start asking somebody that ain't growing, and you get what they think. I'm like, bro, what are you thinking? Why are you checking your thinking? Does that make sense? I don't want to do that. A lot of people check with their parents, aunts, uncles, neighbors. A lot of people check with their children. Y'all think it's okay if we go out tonight? Y'all are sick. You think it's okay if we leave y'all here? What? Ask their kid what they think. If I was a kid, I'd say, I think you ought to write me a check for about $16,332. That's what I would say, and just see if they do it. I used to do stuff like that, my parents. I'm the same kid that my mama showed up at everything. My daddy showed up at everything. I'll be like, don't y'all got anything else to do? I know I'm the oldest son, but y'all are here at stuff. Like, just sometimes don't be there. Like, go to a dance. Bingo. Right? I just thought that way, you know what I mean? Like, we didn't take our kids to the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? And matter of fact, they don't think they didn't jump in. I'll be, no, y'all ain't going. Okay. I never, ever want to fail to ask why I am where I find myself. In other words, I don't want to be there and say, well, that's just the way it worked out. What I want to say is, why am I here? So I never want to fail to ask, why am I here? Why am I here? Why am I in the shape I am? Why am I in emotional shape? Why in a physical shape? Financial. Why? I am telling you, rich people always think it's them, even when it's not. Rich people fail to become victims. They fail to blame outside. They just don't. They blame themselves every single time. That's how you get wealthy, because you can't change anything else or anybody else or the circumstances. Which is the last one. Okay. Self-examine life. Beware the barrenness of a self-examined life. Beware the barrenness. That's the person who gets where they are and they don't look back and say, why I am where I am. I will never get here and say, why am I here? I will say, this is why I'm here. And I will reflect back and I will go. I know a friend, and I hope he hears what I'm saying. He was in a very, very, very terrible, awkward, bad, difficult, challenging situation. And he called me like 5 or 6 times. I finally picked up the phone. I said, what's up? And he said, you ain't going to believe what happened to me. I said, are you safe? He said, yes. I go, tell me some of the circumstances resulting in what's going to happen next. And he told me. I said, that sounds really good. He said, but I felt really terrible when it happened. And in my head, I'm thinking, wonder what he could have done different leading up to it and that would have stopped it. And I'm thinking, I bet he's thinking the same thing. But all I want to do is just love on him and tell him he'd be okay, and I got his back. So I kept saying, I got your back. You're good. I got your back. You're covered. But I hope and pray that he's thinking, how did I get here where I am? Because I hope he never gets somewhere and don't think, how did I get here? Does that make sense? How did I get here? How did I get in this financial position? I love telling people, it took you 27 years to get this broke. I can't get you unbroke in 90 days. But if I can understand how you got there, maybe I can help you get out of there. Like, how'd you get lost? You know, the thing is, where did you lose your keys? Let's look there. Where were you when you lost them? Let's go to that place. Backtrack. Let's see what happened. Yeah, backtrack. That's it. I'm never going to not backtrack. I'm always going to backtrack and say, got it, and then I'm going to make adjustments. See, chance don't make you successful. Change makes you successful. This is simple. It's just simple stuff. This is massive life-changing stuff. The last one, I will never forget never forget my inner life determines my outer life. I never forget that. Do you ever, I always say, yeah. All right. What's inside me determines where I am, period. What's inside my head. Physical condition, financial position, where I mentally am. Now, I will tell you, where you mentally are changes the view of what you see outside of you. And the way you see things changes the way you act toward them. And the way you act toward them changes the way they react to you. So, in effect, all too often, it's not too often for me, your inside changes affects your outside circumstances. And I refuse to ever go back to thinking that outside is more important than inside. In my heart, in my head, my attitude, my mentality, my love, my trust. How do you remain from being cynical when people have done you wrong? Inside, I got to give them a shot. I got to give them a benefit of the doubt. I got to believe that I have a positive and optimistic attitude that this time I got the right people. This time I got the ones that won't stab me in the back. I don't think I have a bad person among us. I got to believe that. And this time I believe my buddies are watching my back more than ever. I thought of that. You see what I'm saying? This time I believe I'm with the right group of people who have my best interest. This time I believe I'm in an industry that they ain't changing, doesn't regulate it like I'm thinking I'm in an industry. This time I'm going to give 100% inside. See, the mental. This time I'm going to go all out. This time I believe that it matters. I got about 10 quick questions that I want to answer, and I'm not even going to try to. I want to tell you one. I got to tell you this. Lady called me and she said, my daughter needs to start reading. I said, okay. First of all, she had this complicated book, very complicated book. And I said, no, give me an Og Mandino storybook or a John Gordon storybook, something that stories about success and life, like The Energy Bus, or what's another good one for kids, Adam? Oh, the Places I Would Go by Dr. Seuss, or that's a really good one. What's another? Positive Dog by John Gordon. Okay, The Noticer is a good one. The Noticer is a great one. So she said, okay, I got those, and she called me back, texted me back, called me back, actually said, I can't get a read. She said, what do you suggest? I tried everything. I said, bribery? That was my one-word response. It was a text. Bribery? And she said, I didn't think of that. I was like, it's the first thing I always think of. My children are like that. You say, Andy, are you serious about it? Yeah. Where'd you learn that? As common sense. Common sense is not too common. John Maxwell told me. John didn't tell you that. Yes, he did too. He told me, he said, my daddy paid me to read books. He told me to take the trash out and I could stay and live under the roof and be there, but to make cash, I need to read. I was like, very tricky. So my lady then said, I offered her $20 to read a book, and I was like, that's not bad. How'd it work? She said, not too good. I said, what is it worth to you? She said, I don't know. I said, it's worth millions to you. It's worth everything to get your kid to read that. I was like, $20 and millions, you're off. I said, give her $10 for 2 chapters. And then maybe you can, once you get the momentum going, you get $5 for the rest of the book, and then you get it 20. You might have to pay 20. Would it be worth 40? She said, oh, yeah. Texted me a picture of her sitting up on the couch reading. I told my wife I about cried. She said she's on chapter 7. $10 in. $10 in, she's on chapter 7. I don't know. So I just not going to do that, kids. You do your kids. She'll do hers. I'll do mine. I'm telling you, I know some kids that have grown up like that. Just solid. Just laid the cash. Read the books. Got her license. Now she's selling. Going to any college she wants to in America. See, that's crazy talk when I see that. That gives me cold chills too. You with me? This is the last thing for you. I know I'm over time. But I want to tell you that, and I got about 5 more questions that people have asked me, and I want to say, here's the easy answer. Okay? But this one, I got to end with this. Everybody says this. I want you to commit to me, Andy. I want a team that'll commit to me. I want people that'll commit to leads and train. They'll commit. I want them to give to me. And I go, God, I see what you're saying. What are you committed to? A lot of times you get what you're given. At our national convention, I felt the love. I'm committed. Look at my calendar. I'm here. I'm there. Look at Paul Roberts' calendar. Look at James Hill's calendar. Look at Jason Carey's calendar. Show me, don't snow me. What are you committed to? Everybody wants to be committed to. Woo! Here's what I believe. More than ever in the history, since the first day we started the Alliance, we're committed to each other, and we're finding each other, and we're attracting the right kind of people in America. That's how we create 1,000 multi-millionaires inside of the Alliance. Come with us. Let's do it. Let's do it faster, not later. Let's do it sooner, not later. Let's do it now while we're young and having fun. Bring it on. Love you. Bye.